Hello, hello, and welcome to my tank game. This is Neo Tanks. It is a game based around you being the player, getting chased down and attacked by these AI tanks, to which they will try and shoot you, and they will try and chase you down, and obviously kind of strategically stop in places so that they're not just endlessly chasing you. And there are pickups around the map that you can gather to try and help yourself progress through the levels. As you can see here, just picked up the reload, the rapid fire, quicker reload one. As you can see, this is the completed level. There was one enemy in this level. Hit next level. Now this is level like 1, final wave. Kill this guy. As you can see up above here, there is another tank coming in. There is 2 tanks in this wave. So excuse my aiming. My aiming's not the greatest. There we go. See him fly off there or into the tree. There we go. Shoot this guy down. The bullets can collide with each other because I liked that feature. There you go. That's that tank done. Let's hit next level. And down here, while there's 3 tanks getting spawned, as you can see up there, I'm going to go get the damage. Oh no, this was the regen health. You see I took some damage, but my health is now regened. That health regen will just keep regenning, but if you get hit, the regen will stop. Here we go, we've got the damage upgrade. Let's go back and shoot these tanks. Oh, there you go. We're all piled up in that corner there. I've been playing this a lot, so there you go, level complete. Those are the 3 tanks, and now it will go back to the 1 tank. This is dynamic, so you can put as many tanks as you want coming in from the enemies, or you can have as little as you want. We could try and bump up the. Here we go. Try and bump up the amount on the last wave. Let's put 10. Make it really difficult. Let's make the second level have 5, and let's make the first level have 3. Okay, start the wave. So it is level 1 final wave because I've only got a certain amount of waves right now, just so it's not the longest game going. But I do always usually pick up the rapid fire because it is probably my favourite pickup. Because it just, there you go, look at that. Pow. That one's dead. And now we've got the last one of the first wave. First level, should I say. Level complete. You can put in more waves if you want, but just for the sake of having to save time, here we go. So there's now 5 enemies. 2 coming from the left, there's 3 here. Oh god, they do a lot of damage. Oh my god, they nearly died there. Oh, dodge those bullets. There we go. Talk about how we can decrease and increase the damage of the AI tanks and the player tanks. But right now, I'm very happy with the damage that the AI tanks are doing, because if you do get hit, it is quite punishing. I made it so the AI tanks projectiles pass through each other because I didn't want them like hitting each other. It's getting a bit hectic now with the 10 enemies. You can see it can get quite hard, and they will chase you at a certain range. They'll try and keep their distance. Oh, there we go. Game over. I died, and you get the general idea. But yeah, we can replay and start over, and you can try again. Probably get the regen health up next time. Yeah, this is Neo Tanks. So let's delve into the code, shall we? So here we have the player tank controller script. I can see here these are my global variables. In this script, I control the movement of the tank, the aiming of the tank, and the shooting and the destroying functionality of our player tank. So you can see here, these are the globals. We've got the turret, speed, turn rate, etc. As we dive down into here, I'm obviously getting the rigid body and the main camera, because the main camera is staying focused on our main player, obviously. So obviously calling the functions here. Here I started off by creating the movement input by actually just making it from scratch. But then I decided I wanted to just use the Unity's input manager as it was just a lot simpler, and I wanted to give it a try. It was my first time using the input manager. Here in the move tank function, we are applying velocity by using the rigid body and giving it drag, giving it angular drag, and yeah, using the input directions from the Unity manager. Down here we have the aiming function. Here I used array class to cast obviously array from the camera dot screen point array input dot mouse position. This way, the aiming system works off the mouse position on the screen, as you saw before. Aiming when as I move, as you saw before, turn the turret around. Here we have the shooting function. Here I am checking if I can shoot again through checking if the reload time has reached 0 again. Then it can fire once more. And we're obviously using it from the get mouse button down, left mouse button down. As you can see here, I've left a comment just to make it easier. And we are pulling said projectile from my projectile function so that the projectile is coming out of the turret. As you can see, the spawn position and with the turret dot forward, and we're also applying the damage multiplier, but I'll get to that later in the projectile function. Down here we have the destroy function. Pretty much this is just like saying, is our tank destroyed? If it is destroyed to true. These are the forces that you saw with the tanks kind of flying around as you shoot, like when they die, because I thought that was a really cool, like, just fun feature. Here is the camera follower script. I've got a reference of the tank controller script, followed by a camera follow function down below, which gets the player tank transform position. And with that, I am able to lerp between the camera's position and the player tanks, plus with a public offset variable, which I can change in the inspector to just adjust the offset to my liking. Finally, just the transform.lookAt so that it's looking always towards our player tank. Here we have the pool script. In the script, we are creating a pool of game objects by filling an array with the type of game object, as you can see here. Then we are setting the game objects to set active false, so they can be found later via this, because the false game object means it's ready to be used, so we can pull it out, as you can see here in the get object from pool function. Game object found equals to null. So if the game object in the pool active self equals to false, then you found a object, and the found object down here, this is pretty much where we're able to bring it out of that pool. And moving on would be the pool manager. Here we are in the pool manager script. I control the types of game objects I am wanting filling. So I have like the pool's types I'm wanting to be filled. The pools I have created down here, each one for different game objects to which I know I'm going to be needing multiple instances of. So as I scroll down here in the start function, we have the player bullet pool. So these are the bullets that are going to be like set to false and set active once we're wanting to shoot the bullets out of our player. Same goes for the enemy bullet pool and the AI tanks themselves. And these can be called when we want. Here we have the tank's health script. Here we're getting the reference of the main camera, and this is also attached to our player tank. I'll show you down below when we get there. As you can see, we're setting the current health to 100 here in the start, but the first function being set to current health. Pretty much this function, if the health doesn't equal to null, and fill that health bar with the current health normalized from the default health. So that's going to bring that number instead of 0 to 100, it's going to bring it to 0 to 1. It's just going to help the game just keep those numbers low. Just a tiny bit of optimization there, I guess. This is the reset health function, pretty self-explanatory, just the set current health, which is up here, to the from the default health. So it's going to reset it back to 100. In the update function, if the player is not dead, then have the health bar look towards the main camera. So it's just going to keep that camera looking towards us so we can see it. Down here we have the damage function. If I take damage, then it's going to stop that regen health from the pickup that I said that we picked up earlier in the game. I just thought that made the most sense for the functionality of the game. And here we are setting the current health to the current health, but like take away the value from the damage. If current health is greater or equal to 0, and if it is the player tank, then we're going to be calling the destroy function from our tank controller that we discussed earlier, and we're going to go through the level manager dot failed function, and I'll show you that later on in the video. And as you can see here, this component AI.destroy, because that's going to be the else. So if it's not the player tank, then clearly it's going to be the AI tank that's being destroyed. Moving on is the this is the regen health functionality. Pretty much in this part, if the current health is less than the default health, then start adding 0.1 float on the update onto the current health. So it's just going to slowly tick up back to the full health. And like I said, this is going to stop once you take damage. And here we have the projectile script. As you can see up here, I've got my public variables. I've set these, obviously you can set them in the inspector, but right now this is just how we are right now. But as we move on down, you can see there's an onAble function here, and there's the onDisable function down below. This was to do with the projectile delay that we were calling in the, as you can see in the AI tanks down here in the shooting. See here, this is like how we used it and set it up, as I was talking about earlier. But moving on, pretty much let's go with the shooting of the shooting function. This is the damage of like any projectile. I'm assigning a forward vector 3 to the projectile, and this is pretty much just using the rigid body of the projectile along with also a damage multiplier that we assigned to the pickup, as you'll find out later. This is just pretty much setting the game object to true, going forward on the transform, and we use that as you saw before, with it coming out of the turret of the AI tanks and also the player tanks. Moving on, we have the collision. This collision function, on collision instantiate the explosion on the collision position, getting the tank script and getting the damage function from it also. So it will deal damage, and it'll also set the explosion asset that I have that you saw in the game. Here we have the pickup function. I'm using an enum called pickup type, setting it with the health regen, rapid fire, and also the damage increase. This is because obviously this is going to be a constant, keeping the constant names. And then also we're using a switch case menu system for the health regen, damage increase, and rapid fire. This is so I can easily choose between which pickup type I am wanting to choose between in the game. And obviously it's going to be colliding with the player, as with the tag here. Here we have the wave manager. This is going to be serializable so that Unity will keep my changes in the inspector whilst also not possibly changing the values from the code, like moving it, changing it to the default constructor code. As for the AI tanks left, I did this in the inspector because I required it public for scope reasons, but to try and also keep my inspector a little bit cleaner, as you can see here. Moving on, we have the enemy destroyed. AI tanks left is substituted by 1 because if the function gets called, it shall, of course, reduce that variable. Moving on, we have the IEnumerator spawn wave with the array transform points, and this is where the spawn points are. Here I'm setting the condition to check if the current waves is equal to the amount of enemy waves. If it does, then call the level complete function and stop further spawning. And you can see in this part, we are assigning the amount of AI tanks left to the number of enemies in the current wave. You see here. And as it goes through here, if the current wave is equal to the number of total waves, then we're going to go through level manager.instance, and it's going to bring up that text you've seen before. It's going to say the level, and it's going to say the current index of like the level that we're on, whether or not that's the final wave. Else, it's going to say we're on the level we're on, but it's going to say the just the wave that we're on. This will show pretty much like before it's saying final wave because I didn't want to add on loads of waves for instance of saving time, but it will say just wave instead of just final wave. And then obviously down here is just the setting that to true, so it pops up, and then 4 seconds later it will disappear, so it's not just hanging around. Moving on, we have the enemy spawner function. This is where we are getting the AI tanks from the AI tank pool manager and setting the transform position to the spawn points. This will indicate where the tanks need to go on the spawn points. Here we have the level script. I am system serializing this. As I said before, it's just because of this obviously is not going to change this script. It is strictly just to handle the levels. Here we're calling the static reference of the level manager and using the spawn wave and spawn points. And moving on, here we have the level manager. Let me just scroll up. I have my my global variables, obviously controlling from the levels coming from level that we just talked about before. Yeah, because it's transform as well, spawn points here. We are controlling the spawn of the waves, the complete screen, a failed function. If the tank's health equal to 0, then increment the current levels, and the replay function. Right when you press the next level, it'll obviously replay to the next level, or it'll restart the game again for you. Here's the replay screen, replay function. Sorry. The start new level. Obviously, we're incrementing, like I said, the current level index, so it will progress up. But if the current level index is greater or equal to the level's length, then it's going to set that level index to 0, and it's going to reset the waves because of it will not become the same as or obviously greater than. And the failed function here, as I said, tank's health is either like smaller or equal to 0. Then it's going to set the game's timescale to 0. It's going to stop everything. It's going to get the game over panel to true, and it'll print out game over called, just so that I knew the game was actually definitely this function was definitely working. And yeah, this has been my Neo tank game. I hope you enjoyed. I had really fun making this project. Thank you for watching.